Hi, I'm Lynne Nash for the Matt Cardle Appreciation Group, and we've been very fortunate to be afforded some of Matt's time for an interview just prior to the Swindon gig. Hi Matt, it's really nice to meet you. Thank you so much to you and to Will for giving us the time when we know you're so busy.
No, honestly, Lynne, thank you so much for for everything you guys have been doing. It's an absolute pleasure. I mean it.
Well, it's our pleasure to support you. So,
thank you.
We've got a few questions here.
Awesome.
That we thought we'd not try and tax you too much.
Okay.
First of all, it's as fans, we all kind of have our routine for a gig day. So, what's a typical gig day like for you?
Typically, on this tour specifically, I would get to the venue at about 4 o'clock, and then we go straight to sound check, and all the crew and everyone will turn up. Probably first thing in the morning, sparrows fart, but we get here at about 5 sound check, so we'll do that for as long as, sometimes if the sound needs tweaking a lot, then we'll take till 6 o'clock, and then Roxanne will do her sound check. But if it's quite a similar venue to the previous one, then it can take up to 10 minutes just running through a couple of tracks, and then it's dinner, and then I'll come up here to my dressing room, and I'll try and spend about an hour and a half warming up my voice, having the odd gin and tonic, a few Haribo, and then watch Rox while she's on, and then after that come down and it's time to go. Showtime.
So that point when you're walking out on stage, what's going through your head?
I think it's just a little prayer to anyone who's listening, that it goes well, and that more importantly than anything, that the crowd enjoy it and want to come again.
Which so obviously they do. So you walk out on stage, and then you get that, we've seen this immense crowd reaction that you get every time you walk out on stage. How does that kind of affect you?
It's just very overwhelming, for one. And it's humbling at the same time. It's just like, I'm there doing something I've wanted to do my entire life, or something I love doing more than anything else in the world, and if people are enjoying that, then it's almost too good to be true. It's like, if you're having fun watching me do what I love to do, it's like, you can't get a much better recipe than that. And I just feel very lucky.
Right. And then you go into your Stars and Lovers at the beginning, and then you go into all the album songs from Letters. You've said previously that All for Nothing is kind of like one of your favourites of the album.
Yeah.
So when you're singing that, what kind of emotions does it kind of bring up?
Well, it's really just the sentiment of the song, and I mean, partly why I love it so much is musically it's fun to play. It's it's in 6/8, and it's just a different feel, and Lorenzo's got some great solos, and for some reason we're all really tight on that track, and it's a big vocal as well, and I think just to kind of express it's easier with that track to really express the emotion that went into the writing of it, because of the way it's constructed, because of the time signature of the song, and the way the melody's constructed, and some of the notes that we hit and things like that. It's a good vehicle for the for the sentiment of the song.
So a lot of your songs are like that. They're kind of like really kind of pretty intense. But do you get to kind of like a point in the gig where you can relax enough to kind of have fun with a song?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to mess with the songs too much, because there's two sides to it, I feel. One side is people want to hear the song how it is on the record, and another side of it is people don't want to hear the song how it is on the record, and they want a completely different version of it. But you've got to try and find a happy medium. And I'm always playing around with the melodies, I'm always playing around with the melody in Amazing and Stars and Lovers, just to mix it up, and so, also to show people that it really is live, and this is not a track, and there's no pre-recorded vocals or anything like that. It's different every night. But I don't really settle down until after the first time ever I saw your face, I don't think. The whole top of the show is still getting a feel for how the crowd are enjoying it. I'm still settling in, the band is still settling in, warming up, Yeah, it's after first time I saw your face, and it's really, I mean, there's no talking after that, and we just start Lost and Found, and it just kind of drones out.
Cool. So that's you kind of get over that intensity peak, and then it gets a little bit easier. Yeah,
there's the whole going off and coming back on again on Slowly, which kind of settles me again, you know, because I come off and have a cigarette and just go, okay, I think it's going okay, I hope so, and then, you know, I can hear the guys just doing their things, then I come back and it's like, yeah, it's just a bit more settled in, so I'm seated and I've got my acoustic and stuff.
It's a bit kind of more comfortable.
Just a bit more comfortable, yeah.
The crowd reaction, you have to judge the crowd reaction, and we've seen some amazing crowd reactions.
Yeah.
And we had a fan we saw recently tweeted that you bring out the inner teenager in us all. It's like, what do you think it is about you or your music that's kind of stirring people's passions in that way?
That's a very difficult question to answer, but I'll try. I mean, I think... the show's massive, and the show does it puts people across to an audience in a way that never happens otherwise. You know, say it was James Blunt or James Morrison. You know, you don't know their personality that well. You just know their music and what they look like and things like that. And then with the show, there's a real connection with the personality, and it's, you know, if you enjoy someone's personality or you like them, then you feel an extra attachment. I feel. And that's partly why I think that might be the case. And, you know, I'm nearly 30.
So do you think your audience kind of identify with you because you're of that age?
Yeah, I think that's another thing. I mean, like, there wasn't the connection, you know, I don't think there's that kind of connection with the guys from One Direction. That's a very young girl, you know, and there are some mums out there that are like, all those boys are cute, but they, you know, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah. And it's kind of like refreshing to get an artist who comes into the fore, you know, at a mature age, not a kid, because so many of them tend to be kids.
To be honest, Lynne, I'm so glad that it happened for me when it happened, and I was old enough and wise enough to deal with it, and to know what's really going on, and to know how to handle myself, and to do all the changing that I was ever going to do way before the show, because, you know, if it happens to you when you're 16, you don't know who you are yet. I didn't really know who I was at 16. I know what I wanted to do, but, you know, your personality hasn't developed and all that kind of stuff. It's like, you've still got a lot of growing up to do, and I did all that, which wasn't a lot, to be honest. I'm a big kid, and I always will be, but, you know, I'm glad the show happened when it happened.
So talking a little bit beyond this now into, you've already said about the second album.
Yeah.
Do you think that having been on tour with Letters will affect how you'll write and produce the second album?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was only thinking about that yesterday, to be honest. That, I mean, you can't write for a specific, you know, you can't really write for gigs. I think, as far as like song tempos, I mean, we chose the relevant songs for Letters, but we don't have many like real upbeat songs. So I think that, you know, there's definitely room for, you know, starting out and just thinking. You know, a lot of times, like when we wrote Starlight, we just started with the beat. All we had was that going, and you know, that's, you know, it's an easy way of writing to get a crowd up on their feet. So the next album, I think there'll be a little bit more of that. I want there to be a bit more like, oh, back doing it, you know, and just a lot more raw.